Taf Hayim at base will begin Hayim at Aleph, 2 lines from the bottom with the 2 dots. So as we learned previously, if you have a lech that it protrudes from the Mavoi wall. So if we have the scenario like we discussed previously, and again, assume it's a Mavi Sosum, so assume that this wall is closed over here. Assume that this is a closed wall. So if you have a lechi that you have the post and it comes across over here. So if it's just a stick, then it has the lechi. But if it's therefore, if it's pochas mi arba amayis nidim shum lechi, if this comes across less than arba amayis, it retains its din as a lechi. So it's a lechi and it's matir the moed. But however, if it's dalet amayis, if it's 4 or more amayis nidim shum moed, it looks just like an extension of the wall of the moed. It doesn't look like it is in a separate post, a separate amud. It looks like it's just an extension of the wall, as you have an L-shaped wall. So therefore you have no other additional item, nothing there to be matir the moving. So therefore v'tzorach lechi acher la'atira. Now you need another lechi to be matir because this is not considered to be a lechi anymore. So the question arises, where do you put this other lechi? If you put it next to it, well, if you just put another lechi and you put it next to it, so it just looks like you're extending this wall. It doesn't look like a lechi. It looks like just extending and making this wall come across in a larger area. It looks like the wall has been increased. It doesn't look like it's a lechi. It doesn't look like a separate item if you do it this way. So, Rav Papa says, what we have to do, therefore, is put it on the other side and put it like this. So this is then becomes part of the wall. This is an extension of the wall, and this, on this side over here, this is the lechi. And it's therefore clear that this is not part of the wall, not an extension of the wall, it is a separate lechi. That's what Papa says. You can say, even if he puts it on the same side, is the metafibe or the mifserbe. He can put it either higher, or lower. And so therefore it's clear that it's not an extension of the wall. It's a separate item, a separate post, and he puts it either higher or lower. Yeshua, this that we said that if it's 4 amas, that we say it's not a lechi, that's only, and therefore the movoi, you can't carry in the movoi, that's only b'movoi shlit. That's only a case where the movoi is 8 or more amas wide. Then that's a problem. Ava b'movoi shiva, but if it's only 7 amas across, then you don't have a problem, because even though it's not a lechi, you don't need a lechi. It's niter b'oimed merubah laporetz. If this is only 7 amas across, and this is 4 amas, that means that if this is narrow over here, and it's only 7 amas, and this is 4 amas, that means that there's more closed area than open area. And if there's more closed area than open area, you don't need a lechi because we view this as being closed. As long as you don't have an opening of 10 amas, and if you have more enclosed area than open area, we view this all as being closed, and you don't even need a lechi. So therefore, this is only relevant, this discussion, if the width of it is 8 or more amas, so that you don't have oimed, more closed, parts. But if you have 7 or less, even though it's not a lechi, even though it's 4 wide and it's not a lechi, you don't need a lechi because it's considered to be completely closed. How do we know this? It's kal v'chaymer mechatzer. Make a kal v'chaymer from chatzer. Uma chatzer she'enu niteres v'lech v'ikar. The opening to a chatzer, to a courtyard, a lechi or a kaira alone is not matred. So we're more machmer on the entranceway of a chatzer. You need either to have Tzuras Pesach or you need to have two lechis, but it's not niter with just a lechi. So you see, it's more chomer. Nevertheless, niteres v'aymen merubah laparos, but nevertheless, it's mutter with aymen merubah laparos. So therefore, movei sheniter b'lech v'kaira, that a movie that is niter with a lechi or kaira. So certainly, kal v'chaymer ein adin sheniter b'aymen merubah laparos. Certainly, it should be niter if it's a more closed area than an open area. It certainly should be mutter. Certainly should be mutter in such a case. So we're taking it as a given that aymen merubah al paratz is considered to be a closed area. It's supposed to be closed. So therefore, by a chaser, if you have aymen merubah al paratz, as long as you don't have an opening of 10 or more amos, if it's more closed area than open area, it's considered that the wall is completely closed. So it's kal v'chaymer, we should say that by the movi. Well, why wouldn't we say it take it as a given, just so we take it as a given by a chatzer? Why wouldn't we take it as a given by the movi as well? So the Rishonim and the Achronim speak out rather that min asvara we would say we would apply the principle that the rabbim, since there's a lot of traffic and there's a lot of in a chatzer, there's not so much traffic. It's a private area. A movi has more as chatzeres psuchos u'toicha. So there's much more traffic passing through it. So I would say min asvara that even if it's aymen merubah al paratz, but the rabbim would come and be mevatel the mechitzas. So there's a svara to say that we would not say aymen merubah al paratz, that it's considered closed off. But nevertheless, the tain is, Ravuna B'rei Yeshua is tiny, but min kal v'chaymer, if we see that a chatzer is more chomer than a movei, it's not niter b'lech v'kaira, and yet it is niter b'aymen merubah al paratz, but movei, we should certainly say so. So therefore, we should say that even if it is 4 wide, as long as this is 7 or less, 7 amos or less in width, it's still mutter. You don't need another lechi. I'll tell you, no, you're telling me that the chatzer is more chomor. I'll show you not that way. It's the other way around, because for a pirza to be considered open, that it's broken open, that the wall, the mechitza is not existent anymore by a chatzer, it's only if it's an opening of 10, that is broken open by 10 or more amos. But what are you going to say by a mavoi that there's a pirza even by 4 tvachim, even by arba? So that even that is considered to be a pirza. So don't you see that opposite, that the mavoi is more chamor than the chatzer, because even a small opening of arba tvach is considered to be a pirza? Gemara says, "Kasava Ravuna B'rei Yeshua mavoi nami pirza b'aser." No, he holds that pirza even by movi is aser. There's no difference. It's the same thing. So, but frag the Gemara laman kamrina. But with this din of the lechi that is 4, that if it protrudes, that it extends 4 into the movi, that you need a lechi achalat here. Who said that then? That is Rav Huna. So laman kamrina la Rav Huna. Rav Huna pirza b'dalet sirle. But Rav Huna's shita is that by the movi the pirza is dalet. Dalet is a pirza by the movi. So therefore, we're discussing Rav Huna's din. How can you make this kal v'chaymer when Rav Huna himself says that by the movi the pirza is dalet? So Rav Huna apparently holds that no, the chatzer is not more chomer than the movi. The movi is more chomer than the chatzer. So just because aymen merubah al paratz, it's considered like the wall is closed by a chatzer, why would we necessarily apply that to the movi? The Gemara says, "En chanami, but Rav Huna B'rei Yeshua time to nafshi kamar." He's not making this comment on Rav Huna. And Rav Huna said the din that if the lechi extends and it's 4 amas extends into the movoi, you need a lechi achalatir. Now, according to Enechanami, according to Rav Huna, it will not make a difference if this is 7 or if it's 8 or more, because he would not apply the din of Aymin Merubal Aparitz by the opening to the movoi. But Rav Huna Brei Rav Yeshua is saying his own opinion. He's saying, I agree with Rav Huna insofar as if it extends 4 amas into the movoi, it's not a lechi. But l'shita C, I hold that a chotzer is more chomor than a movoi. And if by a chotzer aymin merubal aparitz, it's considered closed, therefore, according to me, l'shita C, if the width of the movoi is 7 or less, it's not a problem, because even if this is 4 amas, you still have more closed area than open area, and we consider this to be sealed and closed off because of Aymin Merubal Aparitz. Rav Ashi Amar Afilo Tein B'Mavoi Shmoin Nami Lo Yitzarach Lechi. And he says, takes it a step further, he says, even if it's 8, if it's more than 8, then you need another lechi. But even if it's not only 7 or less, even if it is exactly 8, you still don't need it. Why is that? Nami Lo Yitzarach Lechi. Manashach. I Aymed Nofish Niter B'Aymin Merubal Aparitz. Well, because if it's exactly 8, it's not clear. If you have 1 of 4, the measurements are not totally precise. So now, if it really is somewhat less than 8, or if this is somewhat more than 4, then your closed area is more than your open area. So it's niter b'aymin merubal aparitz. It's considered completely closed. You don't need another lechi. And if it turns out v parts nafish, well, if this means that this really is not exactly 4, it's somewhat less than 4, well, if that's the case, then nidin mishum lechi. Then if this is not 4, and if it's somewhat less than 4, then it's a kosher lechi. It is a lechi. So my amra, what's the only case that you have an issue? Perhaps my amra, the shavu tavai kadari, when it's exactly equal, that this is 4 and the space is 4. So it's not Aymin Merubal Aparitz, and it's not a lechi either, because it's 4. Well, and then that scenario, you have a problem. But we're not concerned, because Havalei Safek Divreim, because this whole din is a crime midrabanan. It's a din derabanan. So this is a Safek, this scenario is a Safek. It's a Safek midrabanan. The Safek Divreim lahakil, and a Safek midrabanan remekil. So therefore, Lamaisi says, as long as it's 8 or less, not only 7 or less, even if it's 8 or less, you don't have to be concerned.